With 13 regular season titles and 11 tournament championships to their credit, Indiana has been the big in Big Ten men's soccer. But this season, Mike Freitag's Hoosiers are 8-4-2 and trying to find their footing as they vie for postseason tournament seeding. Today in Columbus, they will face last year's Big Ten champions in John Bloom's Ohio State Buckeyes, who with only one more win than Indiana are in a similar state, looking for a spark to ignite their postseason campaign. Today, with the regular season Big Ten title still up for grabs and neither team able to afford a tie in the chase, the Buckeyes host the Hoosiers on the Big Ten Network. It's a windy soccer Sunday at Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. A key matchup in men's soccer, number 22 Indiana against Ohio State. A must-win for both teams as the conference regular season winds down. Top 25 oppositions in the league remain for both teams after this match this afternoon. Neil Sika, Josh Hakala, so glad you could join us here on the Big Ten Network. We're here to have some fun in what should be a great match. Ohio State and Indiana, both very well alive, Josh, in the Big Ten regular season race after Michigan defeated Northwestern last night.
Yeah, that was a huge result for both of these teams. They're still alive in the race. Both teams have 2 losses, but if they win out, they have a chance for the championship. Both teams' leading goal scorers will set the tone today. For Indiana, it's freshman Will Bruin, drawing comparisons to the great Pat Noonan of the Columbus Crew. That's right. Pat Noonan's high school record was down by Bruin, 102 goals in high school, and he is one of the top recruits in the nation, has started every game as a freshman for Indiana. That is very impressive as a goal scorer's mentality, but he's still adjusting to the college game. Danny Irizarry is the man in the middle for Ohio State. He leads the team in goals, and he was a key player in their NCAA run last year, got to the championship game, and even has spent some time with the Puerto Rican national team. A rematch of the last 2 Big Ten tournament finals. Now they battle for a regular season championship. Kickoff next.
Like that, only on the Big Ten Network.
Teams out of the tunnel here at Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium. Indiana and Ohio State, a key Big Ten men's soccer showdown. Conditions here in central Ohio. It is breezy, but the temperature will climb throughout the afternoon. Let's meet each team's first 11.
Starting lineup for the Indiana Hoosiers, myself, Ofori Sarkodie, K.A. Kevin Alston, Lee Hagedorn, and Richie Rich Balchin. Across the midfield, E.A. Eric Alexander, Andy Adlard, our skipper, Brad Ring, and John Mellencamp. Up top, Will Bruin and Kevin Noshank, and in the goal, Che Kane.
At left back, Tim Gable. At center back, Doug Veerhoff. At center back, Dave Teamstra. Right back, Patrick Ice Roan. At left mid, Sam Scales. Defensive mid, Matt Gold. Attacking mid, Danny Irizarry. Right mid, myself, Jeff Marsh. Forward, Andrew McGill. Forward, Conrad Bison Warzija. And in goal, Drew Sasansky.
Mike Freitag in his 5th year as the head man at Indiana. He's been with the program for 20 seasons. And John Bloom, the head man in his 12th year, as he took his club to the College Cup final a season ago. Indiana and Ohio State, and Josh, this is a key game. Indiana has 2 conference games remaining after this match. Ohio State just 1.
Yeah, they're really going to have to get a big result. They have a game that we're going to have on the Big Ten Network against Northwestern, and Northwestern suffering their first loss of the year last night, as we mentioned, the Open to Michigan, and it just shows the quality top to bottom of the Big Ten Conference.
Ohio State will kick off, as you saw our arbiter Chen Asoera, as we are underway here in Columbus with Ohio State in their home white and the crimson and cream of IU. Josh, as this game gets underway, each team obviously want to hit on their goal-scoring tactics with Will Bruin, as we highlighted in the open, and Danny Irizarry, but tactically, what else are we looking to see from both clubs today?
I think that we'll look for Indiana to try to start well. If they start early, then that obviously bodes well for them. But both teams have kind of been down this year in terms of scoring, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of game we'll have. And last week we had Michigan State, two of the highest scoring teams in the Big Ten, and they had a 1-0 game. So maybe we'll have a 6-5 thriller today.
Sarkoti deflected that away from Varzia on the toss. It was Ohio State's throw on the far touchline. Varzia nods it forward. This is served in, and Shea Kane, who's done the net minding for Indiana for the duration of the season, will roll it out.
Kane has not missed a single minute, and he has been rock solid for them throughout his entire career at Indiana. Some impressive numbers.
Rome ripped that off of Eric Alexander, and the throw belongs to the Buckeyes. As we are just underway, and glad you could join us. We have our first whistle of the afternoon.
I think they're tending to Lee Hagedorn here.
We look at our keys to the matchup this afternoon.
Yeah, beat the zone. Ohio State plays a zone defense, so they're going to have to, Indiana's going to have to play some balls in behind them. They're going to drop back a little bit, but really take advantage of that space. They need a positive start. They're 8-0 when they score first, so that's going to be a big one for Indiana.
Rome, the senior from Westerville, will link it in to the central midfield. Ball is knotted on forward, and Will Bruin has his first touch, but it's quickly dispossessed to the byline. And the first corner of the match belongs to Indiana. So Indiana right now sitting at 1-2 in the conference.
Corner kick, Adlard, Indiana.
A couple of midweek non-conference wins over top 25 teams. Served into the backside of the 6. Congestion before it's cleared away. Out through the far channel. Serve back in, settled down to the feet of Kevin Noshang before it's ripped away, and Ohio State tries to build the counterattack.
Yeah, Sikansky was a little slow getting off his line there, but luckily he didn't pay the price there, but good defense by Ohio State trying to keep that out of the box.
Rome will have the toss. It's been a while since Ohio State scored in Big Ten regular season competition against the Hoosiers. Have to go back to 2005.
They have not beaten them since 2000, and that was the only time they had ever beaten them in the regular season. And they have not scored a goal, like you said, since 2005, but they did have 2 scoreless draws last year.
Of course, one of the utmost importance in the Big Ten tournament final. Service comes in. Varzia tried to run onto the end of it before it's sent away out of the back by Balkin. Off on the left flank, Ohio State. One of the 3 tri-captains, Gable, moves forward into the Indiana mid-third. This got redirected back inside the box, and Kane rests it safely in his arms. Almost 5 minutes into this first half. And as we mentioned in the open, with Michigan's big win over Northwestern, giving these teams life in the conference regular season race. There's a good push into the final third before it's cleared away by Rome, setting up another Indiana corner.
It'll be Adlard to take this one again. He's the guy that takes all of their set pieces. And there's the standings right here. You see Michigan State and Northwestern and Michigan all with just 1 loss. So really a loss here would eliminate Ohio State or Indiana from the Big Ten regular season title.
Adlard, the set piece specialist, also tied for the team lead in goals. He'll loft this one again toward the far back post. But good coverage in front of Ohio State's keeper, Drew Sikansky, as it's cleared away to the far touchline and will be an Ohio State throw. Ohio State defeating Cleveland State in the midweek. as they return to conference play here on the weekend.
That was Patrick Roan getting his first goal of the year, and it was another set piece. Coming off a set piece, he ran to the near post and it got a foot on it, and not bad for a defender to get his first goal.
Sikansky will float this just shy of midfield. Sarkoti, who did such a fine job at announcing the IU first 11. Also thanks to Jeff Marsh from Ohio State, and he's got the touch here just off the midfield ring. And a foul on Indiana's Brad Ring right outside of the halfway line. Served into the area. Varzia turns it back aside, but no one home.
Some nice work by Varzia, but like I said, just nobody on the other end there. And he's a hard-working kid, has a lot of talent. Of course, we all, at least people in Columbus and certainly MLS fans, remember his dad, Robert Varzia, who was an assistant with the Columbus Crew in Major League Soccer.
The Polish Rifle.
Yes.
Well, is served out of the back as it comes from Teamstra, the freshman from Clarendon Hills, Illinois. Sarkoti, a touch in central defense before springing it out wide toward the far touchline. Went back to Balkan. We'll send this toward the final third. This is touched in by Adlard, but he didn't have enough mustard on it.
Yeah, Adlard scored the penalty kick that was the difference against Louisville, another ranked opponent for Indiana. And they have a brutal schedule, but you know, when you're Indiana, the players come here to play the best. So it's a big win for them, and just got that PK in there.
Sikansky sent that to space as he punted it away. Wind could play a factor today, especially on the end of those crosses. This to the far touchline, an Ohio State throw. Big Ten Tonight is your ultimate source for all things Big Ten. It's the nightly show for highlights, analysis of all of today's Big Ten action, interviews, and so much more. Big Ten Tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central, only on the Big Ten Network. Ball sent forward again for Varzia. He'll back off, and it's back in Indiana's possession. Nosheng dropped it, and then the linking run through. As trying to slip in was Will Bruin, but again, Sikansky, as John Bloom will be the first to tell you, Ohio State's goalkeeping has been somewhat of an inconsistency this season, but Sikansky has been such of a stable force over the last few games with 0.81 goals against average.
Yeah, he's been pretty solid. He's got a bit of a shoulder injury right now, so it was sort of a question mark as to whether it'd be him or Byron Neal. They went with Drew, and he's been pretty solid. He's started 12 games for them this year, and we'll see if they can keep him off the score sheet here in Columbus.
It's in the air like a balloon, and back to Sikansky. Will insole it out, but stays in the Ohio State mid-third. Played nearly 10 minutes and scoreless here in this key showdown. Was it that much of a surprise to see Michigan take down Northwestern last night, John?
Not necessarily. I mean, Michigan, and we'll talk about this a little bit at halftime with the strength of the Big Ten from top to bottom. And really, Penn State is the team is at the very bottom, but yet they've picked up some big wins, one of them against Ohio State. And so really, anybody can beat anybody, and there's probably, we're going to see I would guess 5 teams, up to 5 teams in the NCAA tournament this year.
So parity reigns supreme.
It does. It certainly does. And that's good for the league.
No questions asked there. Sikansky will play it out of the back. Both teams have looked to build out of their back early in this match. Tackle and challenge complete, and nicely done by Marsh to free it up for Ohio State. But Bruin will come on to the back end of it to keep it alive for the Crimson and Cream. Teamstra, the rookie, the central defending partner in Doug Ehrhoff.
That whole back line, they returned 3 of the 4 starters from last year, and really Teamstra was the one that was going to have the hardest time. He had to replace one of the best defenders in program history with Jim Brunner, and he stepped in and he's played every game, and he has fit right in that back line.
Off on the far touchline. And another foul warranted by our referee, Chen Asoera. Free kick to the Hoosiers. Quickly look to build the attack. Knifing in, Alexander got to the top of the 18 before it's ripped away by Matt Gold. Varzia battling with his big frame. But will get no such luck around Lee Hagedorn. To the halfway line.
See that Hagedorn, and looks like they're sort of switching up a little bit in the back with Alston and Hagedorn are sort of switching sides for Indiana. Either player can play on either side, really. Alston is been playing left back, but he's not left-footed, so I mean he really can go anywhere. It's a player you will likely see in Major League Soccer. The teams are already starting to knock on Coach Freitag's door.
Adlard has space, finds Alexander, slotting it, and turned inside and then wide of the near post.
That was a nice opportunity there with Alexander creating in midfield. This is a guy that one of the best high school recruits a couple years ago, and won the best player in Michigan, and he was the national player of the year in high school. Came to Indiana, and he played centrally the first 2 years. And this year they moved him out to the left wing, and he has flourished there as well.
No Shang had an opportunity there. Try and finish the Cincinnati native. As a foul and a restart. As the Hoosiers have the free kick, nearly a quarter hour complete here on this Sunday afternoon in Columbus. Indiana, regular season champs a year ago, but uncustomary at 1-2 right now in the league.
It's the first time they've lost 2 league games since 1995, so they do not lose multiple games. In fact, they've only lost 6 since they started the Big Ten soccer in 1991. So I guess counting the 2, I guess that would bring it up to 8.
McGill took this down to the byline, but Sarkoti will pump it back to the halfway line. Good combination here from Ohio State. Marsh tried to link with McGill and Varzia, but got broken up by the Indiana back four. Varzia tried to backheel it, and again cleared away. And you would think, Josh, in this early testament of the match, both teams feeling each other out.
Yeah, it's pretty standard for a lot of games that we've watched this year, and just early on you want to see kind of what the shape is and how you match up and see what things you can do well. We saw Alexander with the combination play for Indiana breaking down that Ohio State zone a little bit, so that maybe an early indication of what's to come.
Ohio State has favored the left flank so far in the early going as Kane boots this forward into OSU real estate. Bruin a couple of touches. But Matt Gold does a nice job to dispossess. Alston with a foul here.
Alston hitting the turf, of course, as I mentioned, the plays left back, and one of the reasons why so many pro scouts are looking at him is left backs are sort of like left-handed middle relievers in baseball, so they're very valuable. There's Drew Zakansky.
And his corresponding numbers. This leaks into the near channel. Service redirected back to the byline, and Teamstra has to nod away, and it'll be another Indiana corner kick.
So again, we'll have Adlard come down, and he's played the first 2 sort of high floating balls to the far post. I gotta imagine that you'd want to maybe a little more low driving ball, make it a little bit more dangerous. And especially with this wind, it's just going to carry the ball out and away.
Sends it in, punched out. Zakansky got 2 fists on it. He's got driven back and floats over for an Ohio State goal kick.
Yeah, it's nice play by him in traffic to get his fist on it and punch it away, and that is one of his strong suits. He's very good at coming off his line and making plays on the ball in traffic, so he's going to have a lot of that today.
Fifth-year senior. He sends it to the near side of midfield. Marsh gave it away. Sarkoti leaves it for his left back, Alston. We've played just over a quarter hour. Gold. Varzia got the Fleuris on a mistouch. Alston will try and link in the midfield, but Varzia ripped it away. Now cuts it over. Left side of the 18, and Sam Scales tried to run onto the end of it, but a little too much weight on the pass.
Yeah, Varzia, they're being a little too unselfish. Probably could have taken his defender one-on-one and created a shot. That's one of the things that that Coach Bloom would like to see more of from him. He sometimes is a little bit more unselfish. This is a guy that he said is playing out of position. He's playing more of a central midfielder, and they want to put him up top and use that goal-scoring touch. But so far, he's only had 4 goals this year. So they're hoping that he breaks out at some point.
Good size at 6'1", 185 pounds. There's the numbers on Shea Kane with 5 blank sheets.
Kane was the first team all Big Ten last year at 10 shutouts. Really.
Throw for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, it looks like Kane is a little shaken up from that last boot. So
he is hobbling, and we'll take a look in a moment.
You mentioned Sikansky had a bit of a shoulder problem, so that was more of a focus with injury potential. But Kane has not missed a minute yet. That would be a bit of a loss if it's something serious.
Not the best of clearances from Ohio State here. Deep inside their own end. And Alston will step forward from the near channel, serving it in. It got directed out.
That was a good service by Alston, getting up out of his left back position and joining the attack. He's got the athleticism for it to get up and down the wing. And as I mentioned earlier, he's not left-footed, but what better way to develop your left foot than to just sit out there and play left back all year?
It's amazing there aren't more homegrown left backs. One of the toughest positions to master in the sport. Marsh. Taken away. Ring tried to work it just inside the far touch line, but Ohio State's back line remains stout. And Indiana's hasn't been too shabby either.
Still trying to play a long ball there with Ohio State up to Varzia and McGill, and not much there. They've got a pretty darn good one-on-one marker with Sarkoti back there. One of the best defenders in the Big Ten.
It's turned inside centrally and then returned back to the counterpart in Sarkoti.
Nice play by Roan to head it back to Sikansky.
That's the second time I've heard it.
Sends it forward into the afternoon sky once more. Poor touch came to Varzia, and he'll go ambitious from about 30 yards, but Kane has the easy save.
Yeah, not a lot on that one, and again, he's something that comes with forwards, maybe a little bit more touch from distance, maybe put a little, the outside of your foot on there and try to curve it around, but he went for power and just sort of dribbled it along the ground.
Adlard off to Balkan, working down toward the corner flag before it's the sophomore Sam Scales with a couple of touches. He's dispossessed, and Indiana on the move. A try from Brad Ring. His left foot betrayed him just a bit as Sikansky comes up with the easy save.
That was a nice way to create a shot there from Ring. This is a player that's benefited from a change in formation. Last year they were a 3-5-2, and now they're a 4-4-2. And he, in the 3-5-2 formation, was the defensive midfielder, strictly at the back and helping out on defense. I don't think he liked that very much, and now he's a little bit more offensive. Still, obviously, has defensive duties, as any midfielder does, but he is getting involved in the attack a little bit more this year.
McGill was fouled in Ohio State with a free kick. Just over 20 minutes into the first half. Served in, held on the line, and then cleared by Sarkoti. Well, the most dangerous opportunity so far from Ohio State.
It got behind, and that was one of the things you talk about Kane and how good he is. But you see, we're going to take this corner really quick, but Kane is not great in the air. If he has a weakness, that would probably be his decision-making off the line.
Outswinger from Varzia comes to rest. Scales will rip this in. And it's Kane to his right to make the big save.
And here's the coming off his line, and he got beat to the ball, but Sarkoti was there to clear it away. A scary moment for Indiana.
The Hoosiers. Right to left on your screen in this first half with movement out of the back.
Yeah, Kane is not the biggest of goalkeepers, so he really has to rely more on punching the ball away in situations like that rather than just jumping up there and grabbing it. And that was an example right there of the lack of size.
Stands at 6 feet. But instinct served him well there. As Indiana holds control out of the back. Mellencamp. Been quiet so far, but a nice turn inside. And Noshang will twist one in toward the far post.
One-handed save there from Sikansky. And yeah, you're right, Mellencamp, we haven't said his name very much early on. And he sort of seems to be drifted toward the center a little bit more. He's normally out wide the right wing, and there was a nice little pass in there and becoming a bit of a playmaker.
So it's Adlard back to work. This out of the far corner, and Wynn got the best of that. And served out to the byline. Ohio State, number 22, Indiana, scoreless. Back in a moment on the Big Ten Network.
And then Adler runs behind you and gets free. Okay, so remember when the ball is playing behind you, track, because that's what the forward comes.
John Bloom
keeps going.
directing his club in some first half instruction as we are scoreless. Ohio State and Indiana, a key conference regular season matchup as the Big Ten season winds down. We're at Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium. Neil Sika, Josh Hakala. So glad to be with you on this sunny Sunday afternoon.